Welcome to this video. My name is Nicolas. I'm an email marketer for fashion brands. First video of 2024, back on the channel once again. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. And on this video, as you might have seen from the thumbnail and the title, we're going to talk about the infamous case of Snoop Dogg and Solo Stove campaign. A lot of discussion on LinkedIn, a lot of discussion on social media, on blogs and stuff about what happens, because they fired the CEO, and apparently the campaign was pretty bad financially. So we're going to look into it step by step, and more importantly, we're going to take some learnings from it to apply to your own brand and brand awareness campaign. So objective of the video really is to understand why it might have gone with the campaign and get some learnings to apply for you and to avoid making the same mistakes, hopefully. So first of all, a bit of context if you don't really know what's going on and what we're talking about. So on November 16th, 2023, Snoop Dogg published a post on Instagram saying that he was giving up smoke. And people obviously thought that he was quitting smoking because we all know Snoop Dogg and he's smoking a bit. And so, yeah, generated a lot of attention. A lot of people were actually asking, like, is it true? Is it some sort of social media thing? Is it a commercial? Is it like, a lot of different thoughts around it and a lot of discussion. As you can see, it's like almost 5 million likes, which for Instagram is quite big. It's a very big number. And on November 20th, the campaign released. So 4 days afterwards. Campaign saying that he gave up smoke because, he's going to use a smokeless fire pit with the brand Solo Stove. So it's a really cool marketing campaign, good introduction, good teaser phase with a celebrity that obviously plays around the words, because we know Snoop Dogg is smoking weed. We know that, giving up smoke corresponds to his personality in terms of, what's going on, why is he giving up smoke. And so because the play on word was pretty cool, it kind of resonated as well. 3 million likes. That's on Snoop Dogg and Soul Stove Instagram, and a video as well on YouTube with more than 1 million views. So obviously a lot of big talk on social media again, on blogs, so it kind of worked. And it was just before Black Friday as well. So people loved the twist. Like, they loved the approach. They loved the fact that it was a big teaser, that he kind of, kind of hid it pretty well. And so people commented the best ad of the year, love it or hate it, this collab might be the hottest celebrity endorseries of the LED season. People on social media commenting marketing team needs a raise, brilliant ad, etc., etc. So really, people really liked the ad, like the creative, like the approach. It makes sense, right? But then January 8th, 49 days after the campaign, so it's not even 2 months after the campaign, Solo Brands announces that the CEO will be leaving and replaced by someone else. So a lot of comments around, what happened, they missed target, they missed the revenue, the sales weren't as good as expected, etc. So what the hell happened? Because, we went from a campaign that people were praising and, it was crazy and marketing wanted a raise, etc. And obviously it came from the general public, not really experts or stuff like that. I personally thought that the twist was brilliant. I was kind of skeptical on, playing on the fact that, somebody who has I don't know if it's an addiction, but, gives up what he loves, and then, it's not true. It's just for a product. So I was a bit skeptical on that, but the play, the humor, the relation with the product made total sense. So from a creative point of view, it was great. Now, what the hell happened? Like, why did they fire the CEO, or why did they leave? Why were the revenue target not reached? So issue number one, impatience, right? 49 days, as we said, from the campaign to the CEO departure. 49 days to measure the impact of brand awareness, right? Because it's not like a direct sales campaign. It's not like Facebook ads and tracking results and ROAS and CPAs and stuff like that. It's a brand awareness campaign. 49 days is way too short. Like, you can't say, well, what will be the impact on the revenue of this kind of campaign? Like, you need to measure it in 6 months, 12 months to really know like what's the impact. Because brand awareness, although the objective is revenue, it's got midterm, long-term revenue. The objective of brand awareness is for people to have your brand in the top of mind. Like, when you talk about smokeless pit or fire pit, now you might think about Solo Stove because of the commercial, even though you're not in the market yet to buy it. But when you will be in the market, the probability of thinking of Solo Stove as an option might be higher, right? So I think 49 days to measure revenue on that is way too short. Issue number two, the targeting. So is the Snoop Dogg audience the same as a Solo Stove target? Now, I can't really answer that for myself because I don't really know Solo Stove targets. I'm not in the marketing department. I don't know who is buying the product. I don't know if the same as Snoop Dogg. But that's for sure, like, there might be some kind of discrepancy of target because people weren't buying the product, even though they liked the commercial. But the same thing for many things. It's the same thing with when Louis Vuitton was a great collaboration. Like, people talk about it, and like the Nike collaboration with Virgil Abloh, which costed like 2,000 euros. Like, a lot of people who actually liked them couldn't really afford it, weren't in the market for it. So it's like you can't really be super, narrow down the audience when you do a campaign like this that is so big, right? Issue number three, seasonality. Now, every product has its own seasonality for everything, almost everything. You have seasonality, you have month where you sell more, you have month where you sell less. Now, that is a seasonality for fire pits, right? In the US, in the past 5 years, the big peaks in search from Google Trends happened in April, May, not in November. In November, you have some peaks because of Black Friday and because, some regions might be more appropriated for it. But the biggest peaks are before the summer, not in autumn, winter. So in the past 5 years, the peak was April, June. So why do you release that kind of campaign outside of seasonality? Is it just because of Black Friday? Is it just because, you think, well, people, the product will be in discount, so people might be more inclined to buy it? If people don't buy this kind of product because they're very specific product for very specific use, people won't just be buying it. Just because it's like 20% off, it doesn't make sense to buy it, right? So it's like a $300, $400 product. So it needs to be some kind of rationale behind the buy-in. So the seasonality was off as well. Issue number four, confusion on expectations. And that might be the biggest one of the issues. Brand awareness, as we said, is not about revenue. It's about generating awareness and making sure your brand is in top of mind of your target. It's different from getting direct performance from Facebook ads. So again, you can't really measure a brand awareness campaign with no real trackability except, checking traffic on your website and social media hashtags and mentions and blogs and articles and stuff, because somebody 3 months later might buy your product because they remember the campaign and because the campaign resonated with them, right? So you can't really take the same expectations from direct performance and brand awareness. It doesn't work like that. And issue number 5, which is very important as well. Now, I'm not in the US, so I don't really know if that is the case or not, but from what I've seen, it is like this. There's been no follow-up, right? So they made one huge campaign, November 20th, but then they didn't really follow up with it, right? They might have done some Facebook ads and stuff like that, but really, like, when you do like such a big campaign, you need to follow up with it. So it was more like a one shot and leave, more like a Super Bowl ad, right? Where you invest so much money in one ad, and then you kind of hope people will just buy from it. No, you need to really, like, you need to prepare. You need to say, like, okay, so we're doing this campaign. What can we do to make sure that people will go on the website because of the campaign, subscribe to the email list, buy stuff? Like, what's the follow-up with it? You can't just do normal day stuff, right? But the question is, the CEO was fired, and people were saying, well, it didn't really work in terms of sales, blah, blah, blah. But was it really a flop in terms of the campaign purpose? If the objective of the campaign was brand awareness, it worked, because that's what brand awareness is about. Look at that. Like, that's the 5 years Google Trends for solo stove. Every time there is a peak in November because of Black Friday stuff. But then last November, highest peak of the 5 years. And then you have a bigger peak afterwards that is almost as big as the normal peak. So highest trending years, it had like a Super Bowl ad type impact, right? Because so many social media mentions, so many impressions, so many views. Traffic might have been crazy as well on the website for a fraction of the cost. Now, I don't know how much they paid Snoop Dogg. I don't know how much it cost for the spot, etc. But a Super Bowl ad is like $5 million. I don't think they paid Snoop Dogg $5 million for that, right? So it was a fraction of the cost. It still worked pretty well because the impact was huge. Even in Spain, we knew about it. If the objective was direct revenue, then maybe they missed the mark. Because again, that's a brand awareness campaign. That's not a performance campaign. Now, apparently, like, they expected to be 540 million for the 2023 year. It went 500 million. Okay, so they missed by 10%. EBITDA, 14% instead of 18%. So they still had like a decent year, right? And it might not be just related because the campaign was bad. Maybe like the campaign worked, but everything you did beforehand didn't really pay off. So you can't really put everything on the campaign and everything on the creative team and everything on the CEO thing, right? The CEO might be, fired for other stuff, and the campaign might just be like, why you invested so much in Snoop Dogg and it didn't work? That's just like an excuse. So what could have they done, right? Well, first of all, better align between sales and marketing, because obviously if you do brand awareness, you need to be aware that don't really bring sales day one. Might take a lot of time to take out. Maybe in May, when it's like peak seasonality of fire pit, people were like, oh, solo stove, it's great. And it's like big peak in sales. Better market research, right? Because again, the targeting was apparently off. The target audience with the Snoop Dogg endorsement wasn't really the target audience for the products. Celebrity audience fit, same stuff. Follow-up campaigns, they didn't really do anything after the campaign. They didn't really do anything specific based on that campaign. And then patience in measuring impact. Like, what will be the 2024 revenue? What will be the next spring sales? Will people really think about solo stove for their next fire pit purchase? Maybe, because of the campaign. So what should you do for your next brand awareness campaign? First of all, you need to think direct revenue is not the objective. The objective of brand awareness is for people to think about your brand when they need your product. It's not to trigger direct conversions. Have a clear way to measure impact. What is your objective? How do you measure impact? Brand lift, like how much people think about your brand when they think about your product. Measure it before, measure it afterwards. Sales, how many leads do you get from it? Make sure target is right. Again, make sure that even if it's a funny commercial, even if it's a broader target, make sure that it's still oriented to the right target. Follow up with more material as well, not only this one campaign. It's better to spend 500K on the main campaign and 500K on follow-up material and 1 million on one campaign, and then you have nothing to distribute, right? And then virality is good only if it impacts well, right? Doesn't really matter if you have like 5 million likes on Instagram. If people who like it will never buy your product, right? So it's very important to also know that not because you become viral that means that you will get a lot of clients, because people who like the product and like the commercial might not be the one who buys it. So yeah. And then maybe the new CEO will benefit from the exposure given by the fired CEO because of the campaign, because it's only 49 days. So, maybe the new CEO will be like, hey, look at what I'm doing, even though it's the results of the past campaign, because the seasonality will be coming up and people might remember the campaign when they need to buy a fire pit. And also, let's see in February if the Super Bowl ads are better than this one. I don't think so. And let's see if they fire people over it. Because we see every year the brands throwing millions of dollars in Super Bowl ads that are terrible, that bring no value, no revenue, and nobody cares about it. But yeah, that was my 2 cents on the Snoop Dogg thing. With Solo Stove, again, I love the campaign. I think it was brilliant, a brilliant take on it. Didn't reach revenue, but maybe, you can't really put everything and expect one campaign to solve all your business issues, right? It needs to be more global than that. But yeah, if you like the video, if you find it useful, please give a like and subscribe. I would love to hear your thoughts about the campaign as well. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Do you understand that they need to fire the CEO? Do you think it's a bit too much? Do you think it's just an excuse? Ask your questions. And if you want to, see more videos coming up, every week I will publish 2 videos in theory, if I have the time, to grow your fashion brands, for e-commerce tips, email marketing tips. Then please subscribe to the channel, give a like to the video, connect with me on LinkedIn if you want. And yeah, talk to you soon. Bye-bye.